I need to confess something. I didn't just find the camera in the woods. I was guided to it. My name is Ava, and last month my boyfriend Tyler and I booked a remote Airbnb cabin in the Pacific Northwest for a digital detox. The listing promised serene isolation among ancient redwoods, with the nearest town a 40-minute drive down a winding, single-lane road. It seemed perfect. Tyler, ever the skeptic, joked about it being the opening scene of a horror movie as we unpacked our groceries. At least we'll have great Wi-Fi for my horror movie marathons. He'd laughed, but the router in the corner blinked with a weak, intermittent red light that never turned solid green. The second detail I brushed off was the smell, not the expected scent of pine and damp earth, but a faint, coppery undertone, like old pennies, that seemed to emanate from the stone fireplace. The third was the decor. The walls were covered in beautiful, intricate charcoal sketches of the surrounding forest. But every single drawing of an animal, a deer, a fox, an owl had its eyes meticulously scribbled out with violent black strokes. Our first day was normal. We hiked, made dinner, and by nightfall, the sheer density of the trees swallowed all light and sound, creating a silence so profound it felt like pressure on my eardrums. That's when I heard the first click. It was soft, mechanical, and came from just outside the large living room window. Tyler, engrossed in a book, didn't hear it. I peered into the blackness, seeing only the reflection of our cozy interior-me-own wide eyes looking back. The click came again, closer to the front door this time. I woke Tyler, and with a flashlight, we did a quick, nervous perimeter check. We found nothing but our own footprints in the soft mud. The next day, during a solo walk, a glint of sunlight on metal deep in a thicket caught my eye. I pushed through the ferns and found it. An old, high-end digital camera, caked in dirt but seemingly intact. Its memory card was still inside. That night, after Tyler had gone to bed, curiosity got the better of me. I cleaned the camera, charged its dead battery with the universal adapter I luckily had, and powered it on. The photos were a chronological descent. The first few were typical tourist shots of the cabin and the trails, taken by a smiling couple. Then, the compositions grew stranger close-ups of tree bark that seemed to form screaming faces, blurry shots of something tall and thin moving between the trunks at dusk. The final sequence made my blood freeze. It was a selfie of the woman, her face pale with terror, taken inside this very cabin. Behind her, in the dark reflection of the window, stood a figure that was not her boyfriend. It was impossibly tall, its limbs bent at wrong angles, and where its face should have been, there was only a smooth, dark oval. The next photo was of the same window, but now the figure was outside, its hand-long, gray, and with too many joints pressed against the glass. The last image on the card was an extreme close-up of the oval face. It was no longer smooth. It was beginning to ripple, to form features. They were the woman's features. I slammed the camera shut, my heart hammering. I told myself it was a prank, some twisted art project left behind. I decided not to tell Tyler, not to feed into the creepy atmosphere. For a day, everything was quiet. The false safety was a warm blanket. We laughed, cooked, and the strange clicks stopped. I almost convinced myself I'd imagined the dread those photos inspired. But on our final night, the storm hit. The power died, plunging us into a blackness so complete I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. The wind howled like a beast, and that's when the clicking returned. Not from outside, from inside the living room. Slow, deliberate clicks, like a shutter releasing. Click, click, click. Tyler heard it too this time. We huddled together on the couch, a single flashlight beam cutting the dark. The beam caught movement by the fireplace. It was a tall figure from the photo, its form dripping with rainwater and shadow, standing perfectly still. Its oval face was no longer blank. It was shifting, like clay on a potter's wheel, slowly settling into a familiar arrangement of features. Tyler's features. It took a step forward, its movement a series of jerky, unnatural pops. Tyler screamed, a raw sound of pure terror, and threw a heavy book. It passed right through the figure, which didn't react. It just kept staring with Tyler's still-forming eyes. Then it raised one of its long arms and pointed a single, bony finger at me. The clicking sound now came from its direction, rapid and insistent. I looked down at the camera in my own lap id, then clutching it without realizing. The power light was on, though the battery had been dead for days. The screen flickered to life, showing a live view image. It wasn't showing the room. It was showing a first-person perspective from where the figure stood, looking at me, huddled and terrified on the couch. That's when I understood. The camera wasn't a recorder. It was a transmitter, a conduit. It didn't capture images. It stole faces, and with them the essence of the person. The thing was a collector, using the camera as a focus, a way to choose its next mask. It had finished with the woman. It had chosen Tyler. And now, through the lens, it was seeing me. Tyler, in a burst of adrenaline-fueled bravery, grabbed my hand and yelled, "Run!" We bolted for the door, fumbling with the locks. The last thing I saw over my shoulder was the figure turning its head, Tyler's now perfected face, smiling a smile my real boyfriend never could. A smile that stretched too wide and showed too many teeth. We crashed into the stormy night, the rental car skidding down the muddy road as branches clawed at the windows. We made it out. We're back in the city now. The police called our story trauma-induced shared psychosis from carbon monoxide poisoning, despite the detectors never going off. Tyler doesn't like to talk about it. He said he doesn't remember the details, just the fear. But sometimes I catch him staring at me with a strange, calculating look. And last night, as I was trying to sleep, I heard a faint, familiar sound from his home office, a soft, mechanical click. I told myself it was his computer mouse. I have to believe that, because the alternative is that we didn't both escape the woods that night. I think one of us did, and one of us stayed. And the worst part, the thought that haunts me every single second, is this. When it wears his face long enough, learns his memories, becomes him, how will I ever know which one came home? Thanks for listening to my story. Before I go, I am curious, what's the creepiest or most inexplicable object you've ever found? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this tale of digital dread, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people find our little corner of horror. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Stay safe out there, and maybe think twice before you pick up a lost camera.